welcome back to PMDD with C. This channel is to advocate for PMDD and to create a community around this disorder, to raise awareness for it, and just to be a general place for chit chat. A disclosure, I am not a medical professional. I'm someone who suffers from PMDD quite badly in the past, and I am just very passionate about doing all I can to raise awareness about PMDD. So here we are. And if you're watching it going through one of your PMDD phases, I hope that you're okay. Just know you're not alone, and please do reach out if you need to. So in this video, I thought I would do a little story time. I know YouTube loves a story time, so it's going to be PMDD related, and it's all about how PMDD ruined my girl's holiday. So sit back, relax, grab a beverage, a nice cup of tea, and we'll begin. So a few years ago, it must be about 3 years ago now, I went to Portugal with some really close friends, and I was super excited, and everything went smoothly. We got on the plane, we were having fun, and when we arrived, we went out, and I was just having a blast. We went to some bars and had some cocktails and had this super cool villa. And yeah, it was just lovely. However, I think it was either the second day or maybe even the first day, that switch flipped for me. And bear in mind, I had no idea what PMDD was then. So it must have been about 3 or 4 years ago. Sorry, I can't give you an exact date at the moment. Anyway, I just remember this drastic change in my mood, and I thought it was because at first I had sunstroke. I thought I'd given myself sunstroke, or I'd been sunbathing for too long, and it just made me feel a bit ill and moody. But looking back on it, after discovering what PMDD is, and after tracking my cycle and discovering that it is something that I'm very, very, very likely to have, and after discussing this with doctors as well, looking back on this holiday, I can safely say that I was probably going through PMDD then. I was around some of my best friends who I've known for years and years and years, and who I love and who I appreciate, and who have been there for me since I was 11 years old. And suddenly this switch flipped, and I just hated everyone around me. And it really, really pains me to say that. Because I don't hate them, and they know I don't hate them, and I love them to bits, and they're my best friends. And but in that moment, I just remember absolutely hating everyone. I stopped talking to everyone. I started isolating myself. I spent a lot of time in my bedroom. I was just really, really moody, and I just remember that feeling of just absolutely just not wanting to be there. I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to be around them. I wasn't enjoying myself. And for all you who know how that feels, yeah, it's just a very, very scary feeling, because you just suddenly switch and you're like, oh, this is life now, okay. And because I didn't really know what was happening, I just thought I was mental. I was like, I just accepted it, and I was like, okay, well, I'm just a bad person. I'm a horrible person who hates my friends. And that is not the case. We're not horrible people, and we certainly do love those around us, don't we? It's just when that switch flips, there's nothing you can do to stop yourself feeling like that. And it was so scary because, yeah, I didn't know what PMDD was, and therefore I could not rationalise it like I can now. For example, when I literally experienced PMDD, the weekend just gone, I started having these ruminating thoughts, and I started having the, oh, I don't like people thoughts, and, you know, kind of those thoughts that lead to you kind of hating on people in your head. And then suddenly I recognised that it could be PMDD, and then in my head I was like, are you sure this isn't PMDD? You are due on, you're waiting for your period, and you know that 2 to 3 days before is your time for PMDD. And I was saying this to myself in my head, are you sure it's not PMDD? And I was like, yes, I'm going to class this as PMDD, because when you're in that zone, it's really hard to understand whether it is or not. And I was like, okay, So what do I need to do? I just need to be kind to myself in my head, know that it's not going to last forever, and stay in, snuggle up, and don't feel guilty about watching a million YouTube videos lying in bed crying and hating the world. So that's what I did, and as I said in my previous video on cancelling plans, I cancelled my plan because I knew if I was going to be around my friends then, I wouldn't be the same bubbly person around them as I usually would be, and it would probably end up making me feel worse, knowing that I'd go to someone's house and just sit there hating it in my head, and maybe my behaviour would follow in regards to what's going on inside my head. So anyway, that holiday was completely ruined. I class it as the worst holiday I've ever been on, not because of any of my friends. We were in a beautiful villa in Portugal, but I just class it as the worst holiday ever because, number one, I didn't know what the hell was going on inside my head, and it was very scary, and number two, it was just like a dark veil was over me, and the rage and the hatred I felt for everyone who I loved, it was just horrible. And also because everyone was having so much fun around me, it just made it worse. And yeah, it's very hard to articulate to people who haven't experienced it, but it was just dreadful. And after that holiday, I think I had my penny drop moment not too long after that, and then I looked back on all of these events in my life where I've acted out or felt like this, and put two and two together and thought, that sounds like PMDD. Another story, I do remember this was probably about 3 years ago now. I went to a Indian restaurant with my mates, again the same girls as I went on holiday with, and I just felt so angry at one of them for no apparent reason, but for PMDD reasons, and I just couldn't be around them, and I couldn't look at them, and it's not their fault, and I just ended up just getting up and storming out and just leaving. And that's actually happened a couple of times with me. I remember doing that before a work night out on a Friday. The office all went down to a pub, and I was just like, oh, I just need to pick something up from the office, and I just walked away from that group. And that's because of, you know, the switch flipping and me just being like, I can't be around these people, I just hate everything, I just can't. So for me, removing myself from group activities in that phase, I think, is the best way for me to cope with that feeling, because I just don't want to cause conflict that I'm going to have to pick up the pieces after, you know, I start bleeding. It's just not something I want to do, so I'd rather just shut myself away like a beast and just ride it out and try to not cause conflict that I can't really explain to people you know, the next week, because there's a limit to people's understanding, as I said before. And yeah, you do tend to cause conflict. Like, look at me getting up, like making a scene basically from a restaurant, from a table, tiny table for like 6 or 7 people, I can't remember how many of us were there, but there's 7 in my group in total, and then me just getting up and walking out, and then just being like, what the fuck just happened? And there's a limit to people understanding that, because if, you know, in your normal state of mind, I would be like, oh my god, that's so rude if someone just did that now. If I was sitting at a table now at a restaurant feeling the way I do, which I feel fine now, and someone just got up and just left because they seemed to be hating on someone, you'd be like, oh, this person, like, that's so rude. I'm not going to reach out to them. They've got to reach out to me next time to, like, what the fuck are they playing at? So that's a situation that I don't want to put myself in with my friends, because I don't want to pick up the pieces, because I just don't think they're going to understand fully. I don't think anyone will understand fully unless they've gone through it. And even us PMDDers, sometimes forget. I know I forget how it feels to be in that moment, in the PMDD moment. And that's scary in itself, isn't it? Because, you know, even sometimes PMDDers can't remember what it really feels like to be in that moment until they're back in it. So I like to remove myself from situations and hopefully don't cause as much drama or conflict with people that I love, because I don't enjoy, and none of us do, I don't enjoy picking up the pieces afterwards and explaining it, and deep down knowing that they've probably changed their opinion on who I am. But that's happened a good few times where I've just got up and walked out without any explanation, and my friends just being like, what the fuck? And as I've been explaining in these videos, it's just very hard to articulate how you feel in that moment. And apologies to everyone I've ever done that to. I don't hate you. And I appreciate everyone in my life, but it's very hard to help, like, to get people to understand that. And yeah, you are probably seen as very selfish, aren't you? Or selfish and rude. And that's where education comes in. And I think, you know, more people need to know about PMDD and how people feel and how to cope with someone who is going through PMDD, and what to say to them and what not to do. And that's where you come in, where you've got to tell your close loved ones and people around you your boundaries, and communicate to them that, yeah, you may be in the PMDD phase on this date, and this is what you should look out for. Please don't poke the beast, because the beast will be there. Anyway, I'm rambling now. Please let me know if you've experienced that. Please let me know if you just got up and walked out because you just can't stand being around people that you actually love. That's a very common PMDD symptom. Why do our hormones make us react like that? I really want to research some more when I have some time, but if anyone knows why we react like that, like what exactly is it that's triggering this behavior? Obviously, you know, they say it's a sensitivity to the hormone fluctuations, but that's only surface level definition. What exactly is going on inside us? Like, is the hormone changing something inside your brain to then make you suddenly flip and feel angry? Like, at like a molecular level, I want to know these things. So if anyone can explain it to me, that'd be great. I've got some books. You might be able to see this one in the background. This is We Need to Talk About PMDD. In the last video, I showed you the other book, the PMDD phenomenon. Can't say that word. But yeah, if you can recommend any other books to me, that'd be great. I'll have a look on Google as well. But please leave any comments if this video resonated with you, and I'd like to hear your stories, and if you give me permission, I'd like to read them out. So has PMDD ruined a holiday for you? Let me know. How do you manage these symptoms of, you know, causing conflicts around your relationships? How do you manage that? Like me, do you try and lock yourself away for a bit just so you don't have to deal with picking up pieces? Anyway, I hope you're looking after yourself, and I will see you in the next video.